are called automated processes where we can manipulate the data both on clipboard and database. Okay. We have a method step page on in activities. Method is like action, what action you are going to perform. Step page is like on what page you are going to perform on clipboard. Okay. We have a when condition and jump condition where we can do pre-conditioning and post-conditioning. You have loop, you have label. Label is used for keeping a jump to later step. And we have description. Okay? I hope you remember, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And next, what are the methods we have discussed? We have discussed it regarding property set. Property set is used to set up properties on a clipboard similar to set method in data transform. And we have page remove. Page remove is to delete or remove a page from a clipboard similar to remove in data transform. Okay. And you have page copy. Page copy is like to copy a to copy the data from one page to another page.
Mm.
After that, you have apply data transform. Apply data transform is like to call one data transform from, if you use apply data transform in data transform, it is used to call one data transform from another data transform. If you use apply data transform in activity, it is used to invoke a data transform from activity. Okay.
Mm.
And next you have a call method. Call method is used to call an activity from an activity. Okay, how should you use a call method? You have to use like call space. You have to give your activity name. Okay.
Yeah.
And you have Java. If you give Java, it will actually open a Java editor. Yeah, it will actually open up a Java editor. Okay. After that, you have a exit activity where you will exit the activity. The control will go to, suppose you have two activities. Okay. Activity A and activity B. You are calling activity B from activity A, like you are using call method and you are calling activity B inside activity A. Okay. Activity A is a parent activity. Activity B is an inside activity. Got it?
Yeah.
Now inside activity B, you are using exit activity. Okay. Then what happens? The control will return back to activity A.
Mm.
Activity B will get exited and activity B will get exited and the control will come to activity A.
Right.
Okay, you understand?
Yeah.
And you have one more method called activity end. That one I think we haven't discussed yesterday. This is an interview question. What is the difference between exit activity and activity end? If you use activity end, what happens? The control will not get to parent activity. An entire series of activities will get ended there itself.
Okay.
You understand the difference?
Yeah.
Suppose activity A is a parent activity. It has 5 steps. Okay.
Mm.
In the third step, you are calling activity B using call method. Okay. Now, inside activity B, you have activity end. Okay. You understand?
Yeah.
Now, if you use activity end, what happens? The control will not come back to activity A. It
Mm.
will not exit step 4 and step 5.
Right. Basically, it will end the activity overall, right?
It will end the activity overall. But exit activity, what it will do? It will give the control back to the calling activity.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever the activity is calling, there it will, you will get, your control will go there. Okay.
Yeah.
Any questions till now?
No.
All right. And next you have a flow new is to invoke a flow from an activity, page set messages to set a message on a clipboard page. Okay. Okay, now we will discuss regarding OBJ methods. OBJ methods are used to manipulate the data on a database. Okay, what are the few OBJ methods? Let's see. We have OBJ browse first. OBJ browse, OBJ open, OBJ save, obj delete. Okay, these are the main four methods you have. We have one more method called obj delete by handle, but we will not discuss right now.
Mm-hmm.
Obj open by handle you have open by handle, and you have obj delete by handle. By handle you have, and you have commit. What else you have? Commit you have. Okay, these are the important methods, but last three we'll discuss if you have full understanding on the top four.
Yeah.
Okay, because top four are the main methods where you will use. Okay, in a day-to-day life. Let's go. Let me open this one. Give me a minute. Let me open the PEGA instance. If you see obj browse, okay, obj browse. First, let's see what are the method parameters, and then we'll see how we need to use the method parameters. If you expand this one, obj browse, you see the method parameters. Obj browse, what it is expecting, see the required parameters first, page name and class. Okay, page name and class it is expecting. Now I'll explain you first what is obj, what is the purpose of obj browse. Obj browse is used to fetch multiple records from database. Okay, obj browse is used to fetch multiple records from a database. Let us assume if we have a table. Let me open an Excel. Okay, meanwhile, let's see if see there is a table. Okay, there is an employee information table. Okay, from the table you need to fetch a records who has the experience greater than 5 years. Okay, in an organization you need to see whether how many employees are having an experience greater than five years. Now what you will do, you will do obj browse. Obj browse is used to fetch multiple records. Okay, you remember the word multiple records.
Yeah.
Let's assume you have a table. Okay, let's assume you have a table called, what happened, employee ID you have. Okay. After that, the employee name you have, employee salary you have, employee experience. Okay, this is a table. Okay, in this table, these are the columns. Okay, what are the columns? Employee ID is a column, employee name is a column, employee salary is a column, and employee experience is a column. Okay, let's think there is a data like this. Employee ID is this one, employee name is something like Rahul, employee salary is 10K, employee experience is 2 years. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. There is a name, something called Suman. Employee salary is 15K, and employee experience is 3 years. 001. You have Reshma, 12K, employee salary experience 2 years, and you have one more 3001. Something you can say Akansha. You have 20K, employee experience is 5 years or 6 years. Okay. Now let's assume this is also around 5.5. Okay. Now if you see here, this is a database record you have in a DB. Okay, this is a database table. The table, the entire table name you assume might be employee information. Okay, this is a table you have in database. Okay, now if you want to fetch the data who is having an employee experience greater than 5 years. Okay, greater than 5 years means how many records you will get? Greater
2.
than 5 years means you will get 2 records, these 2 records. Okay, now I want only employee ID and employee name. I don't want employee salary. See, in a table there might be hundreds of columns. Okay, in a table you might have hundreds of columns, but you need only 2 columns now. You need to have only 2 columns now. Okay, employee ID and employee salary, or employee name, employee ID and employee name. You need only 2 columns. Who has experience greater than 5 years? Then what is the exact result? Like you will get only these, right? This one, this one, this one, and this one, right? This is the data you are going to pull now, correct? Now let's configure how this will be doing in OBJ browser. Okay, how to write? First thing is like we have to specify the table. Okay, in which table, from which table you are going to fetch the data, correct? After specifying a table, we need to specify the condition, like what, like how the data we need, like how the data we need the data.
Hello.
Who has years? Okay, who has the experience greater than 5 years? If you see the OBJ browse method here, what it is expecting, the first thing, it is expecting a page name. Okay, why it is expecting a page name? Because the results you are fetching, it has to store it on some clipboard page, right? It has to store the results which you are pulling from a database. Those results it has to store on some page, right? Without a page, it cannot store the details, right? So it is asking for a page name. Okay, any questions here? Why it is asking for a page name? Page name, why it is asking for a page name? Because it is asking for a page name because the results which you are pulling from a database, we have to store it on our local clipboard. So it is asking for a page name. So here we are, what type of records we are pulling? We are pulling a list of records, like multiple records, right? OBJ browse is used to fetch multiple records. Okay, so to store the multiple records, what type of page we need? as actually we are getting a list of records. What page we need? We need a page list, right?
Page list.
Yeah, single page is not sufficient to store a multiple records. We need a page list, right? So here the page name we have to give every time for obj browse. You need to give a page list here. Okay, why we need to give a page list? Because obj browse is used to fetch multiple records, and multiple records you will store it on a page list in clipboard. Okay, any questions till now? Okay.
No, it's fine.
Yeah, and next thing you have is obj class. What we have discussed regarding a class, every class is associated with a table. Every concrete class is associated with a table. So from which table you are pulling out, from which table you are fetching the records, that table will be mapped to particular class in PEGA. If you saw this one, if I open a class, okay, you click on App Explorer, you right click here on the class, you open the definition of a class, open a definition of a class. Now, if you saw in the below, you will be having a test connection, okay? Every concrete class, if you see, it is still loading. Yeah, if you see this class is a concrete class, it's not an abstract class, it's a concrete class. If you come down, if you click on a test connection, see this class is actually mapped to this particular table. You can see here, right? This class is mapped to a table, this table. Okay, this table. Now, if you want to fetch the data from this particular table, here in place of class, you have to give this particular class. You understand what I'm trying to say? Class represents a table name. So from which table you are fetching a data, that table's associated class, you have to mention it here. Obj class. Okay, any questions? Obj class, what is object class? Nothing but you are mentioning a table here. Okay, it's fine, right?
Yeah.
Okay, next thing, if you come down, we'll discuss regarding these things later on. Next thing, you have these things like select a field. See, in this table, what actually you need? You need employee ID and employee name who has the experience greater than 5 years, right? So first thing, you will write down your condition here, like how you will write dot employee experience. Dot employee experience, just type in, I think, yeah, dot employee experience. You have a condition here, right? Dot employee experience. Here you can see it has greater than, less than, or less than or equal to, is greater than 5 years. You'll first of all, you'll write down your condition here. Employee experience greater than 5 years. And what are the other values you need? You need employee ID and employee name, right? You'll write dot employee ID and plus an employee name. There is no filtering here, so you will leave it like this, value only. You will not give any filter conditions, employee ID and dot employee name. Okay, whatever the values you required from a table, those values you need to specify here. Okay, you understand how we should configure an obj browse. First thing, you need to give a page name. Page name might be like this. Okay, employee data. Employee data is a page list. Okay, and next thing, class. From which class you are fetching a data. Okay, you will give a class here, and this employee data must be given in pages and classes. Whatever the pages you are using in the steps tab, you have to mention those in pages and classes tab. Like you will give employee data. See, there is one, how can I say? There is one, you have to follow. We can say that we have to follow in a similar way. Like every time you have to give it like this only. Suppose if you are fetching an employee information, you have to give employee data, And in pages and classes, you have to map employee data to one class, and you have to map one more thing. Every time you have to do it whenever you're using OBJBrowse, like employee data dot px results. Px results. Okay, what is px results? Px results represents a page list. Okay, and these px results must be mapped to code PEGA list. If you must be mapped to code PEGA list, that is a class. See here actually they're mapping it, right? Code PEGA list. Okay, this one you have to do it. You have to do it like this also. Like code PEGA list, you can map it here. This represents a page list, and this one you can give a work class here. Work class here. See, this is a standard convention we should follow every time whenever you are using an OBJBrowse, whenever you are giving an employee data like this here, some kind of page list here, you have to map the page list in this manner. Like you have to give employee data in pages and classes tab, and you have to give employee data to px results. What is px results? Px results is a page list property which is given by PEGA. Like it's an PEGA OOTB property. Okay, this is how you have to give it. You understand the basic idea, right? What is OBJBrowse? OBJBrowse is to fetch multiple records from a database. And what is a page name? Page name is used to store the records which we are pulling from which we are fetching from a table. Class is nothing but a database table. You have to mention a class from which table we are going to fetch. Suppose if you want to fetch from a different table, okay, that different table will be associated with some particular class in PEGA. Whenever you're working in an application, you will actually get to know that class you need to mention here. Okay, that class. And whatever the conditions you need to fetch, like if you want to fetch any other properties or based on any other conditions, you have to mention it here. And you can actually sort it down also. You have a sorting also, ascending, descending and all. You can sort the data here. Okay. Any questions on OBJBrowse?
No, sir.
Okay. Now you have here max records here, right? What is a max record? The number of records you're going to fetch. See, PEGA, mostly PEGA will be using in banking domains, insurance domains and all, right? So in banking domains and insurance domains, you will be having millions of records in a database, like millions of transactions for a particular bank and all. So it is a best practice to specify a maximum records when you're fetching a data. Like if you didn't give any records, the default value will be 10,000. It will fetch up to 10,000 records, but the best practice is to specify the number of records you want. Okay, the best practice is to specify the number of records you want. If you click, see, this is a question mark icon here. You can see on the right side, right? This is a help icon, PEGA help icon. If you click on this icon, it will open the method details. Like you have written OBJBrowse here, right? It will open OBJBrowse regard that related page. It will explain you in depth for OBJBrowse. Limit, there is no particular limit for that one.
You can mention that suppose you are expecting 1 lakh records.
Yeah, if you are expecting 1 lakh records, you should not use OBJBrowse. There is a different concept called report definitions, okay, which it will handle the data more efficiently. Okay, there are other ways to do such kind of data fetching. Like if you want to show 1 lakh records to a user, okay, generally how you will show, you will show 50 records per page, and remaining all records will be something on pagination, 1 2 3, like that pagination, right?
Yes.
So on click of pagination, it will pull the records, 50 50 50 records. It will not pull 1 lakh records at a time. You will have a pagination, like per page. If you are storing 100 records, you are showing to user per page 100 records. Okay, now you will be having a pagination of around 10,000 pages, right? Because you are pulling 1 lakh records. So on click of page number 2, it will pull next 100 records. Okay, you have a pagination there. I will show you when we have discussed regarding report definitions and the UI part. But generally for limited records, like for some 10,000 records or some 2,000 records like that, you will actually use OBJBrowse method.
Okay, fine.
You can see it here. First, let's come with page name. In the page name, you can see enter the page of destination page that contains the search results. Okay, whatever the results you are going to fetch, to store those results, you will give a page name here. System uses code PEGA list as the class of this page. See, this is a general thing which PEGA we need to follow this practice. Okay, this page which we are giving here, that has to be mapped to code PEGA list in pages and classes. Okay, class is like identify a class to search. Class is nothing but a table on which table you are pulling. See, the class can correspond to database table or database view. To which database table it is pointed to, we are going to fetch it from there. Maximum records, you can see the maximum records is by default it will be 10,000. I don't know if he has mentioned here. Yeah, the default value is 10,000. You can give up to some other instances if you want. Okay, it is a best practice to mention a maximum records. This get row key and these are all include a primary key. I will not go through these things now. The lightweight list is like to represent these things. I will not go through now. These things are now you will get confused. Lightweight list and all. If you come down, you can write your logic here. You have a logic here, right? Logic field. You have a one second. Yeah, you have a logic field here. Suppose you need to fetch based on some logic. You can mention your labels here, A, B, like that, and you can mention like A and B or A or C, like that. Okay, this is a filtering conditions. Okay, if you need only an employee experience, you can mention directly like this, or else if you need employee experience is greater than 5 years and employee salary greater than 15K. Okay, you need to have two conditions. Then how you will give? You can give two conditions here and you can logic here, A and B, like this, A and B. And you can give two conditionings here. You understand it? Logic. Based on your custom conditions, you can mention a logic here. Based on that logic, it will fetch the data. Any questions on OBJ Browse?
So there is some condition behind this. I mean, some coding behind this. It will take the label whatever you are mentioning in logic
actually,
part.
What happens in the background is like OBJ Browse method will be converted into SQL code. Okay, it will convert in the backend, it will convert to SQL code, and this conditions is there. It will take as alias, like as A, as B, it will take and it will do a conditioning there where it will do where A and B, like that. In SQL, you have a where clause, right?
Yes.
In that manner, it will actually build a custom OOTB, like it will build a custom SQL logic in the background. OBJ Browse methods.
Got it.
Got it, right? Yeah. We're going to the next method, OBJ Open. Any questions on OBJ Browse? OBJ Browse. This is how a method looks like. This is a configuration, OBJ Browse. All right, okay. Let's go to OBJ Open. Let's see how OBJ Open looks like, and then we'll see how actually what is the difference between OBJ Open and OBJ Browse. OBJ Open. Now, if you expand it, you will get a method parameters. See, this is how OBJ Open looks like. You can see how OBJ Open looks like. I'll tell you what is OBJ Open. Okay, OBJ Open is to fetch single record from a database. Okay, what is OBJ Browse? OBJ Browse is to fetch multiple records from a database. OBJ Open is to fetch a single record from a database. If you observe this table, see, every table will be having a key. What is a key? Key is a unique column in a table. Okay, like if you observe this table, the key for this column is employee ID, because employee ID cannot be duplicated for two employees, right? So it is a key for this table. You can identify the row based on this employee ID. If suppose I have given 1001 as a key, Then you can identify the employee name, you can identify employee salary and employee experience, because employee ID is a unique value. So it will act as a key for a table. Okay, the key can be a combination of 2-3 columns, but let's not complicate right now. The key, we will specify the key can be a single column right now, and it is a unique value. Okay, Sonal, you are getting right, and Dilip, you also.
Yes, yes, primary key. Every table
primary
will have primary key.
Yeah,
Yes.
every table will be having primary key, right? Key is nothing but a unique value in a column. So if you want to open a single record, if you want to open a record called 2001, if you want to see the employee details of 2001, now what you will do, you will pass this key to the system, so that system will fetch this data from a database. Okay, now you are opening the single record. Previously, what you have done in case of obj browse, what you have done, you have fetched multiple records like this. You have fetched multiple records. It is a vertical form of fetching, like you will fetch the multiple records. But in case of obj open, what you are doing, you are fetching like this. Based on a key, you are fetching a entire complete record. Like if you have, suppose, let's think like this table is having some 15 columns. Okay, if you are opening with this key, what will happen? The 15 values will be present on that particular page. All the entire information, whole information, you will get on a page. You understand, right? What we will do in obj open? We will fetch a single record based on a key in case of obj open. Okay. Any questions till now? See, the people will
It
ask.
will be work like where condition, right?
Yeah, mostly it is like a where condition. Yeah,
and always it will return a single row.
Correct. It will return a single record, you can say.
Yes, single record.
Single record. Yeah. And people will ask in interviews, what is the difference between obj browse and obj open? Obj browse will fetch a obj browse will fetch a multiple records from a table, but obj open will fetch a single record. Okay, single record in the sense it will fetch all the column values. Like if you have one more column here, it will fetch that column also. But in case of obj browse, you need to specify which column you need to fetch. Like because of multiple values, you need to specify which column we have to fetch. Okay, now let's see the configuration. Class is similar. Class is nothing but a table name, right? You have to mention from what class you need to fetch the data, because class is mapped to a table. So it will fetch from that particular table. Okay, now if you open a class, every class will be having a key. If you saw here, key is nothing but this class is mapped to a table, right? This table is having one unique value, right? That unique value is mentioned as a key here. Okay, you understand it? What is a key in a class? I have opened a class. This is a work class. Go road work class. If you come down, there is a key here. Key is nothing but a unique record. It will act as a primary key. Primary key is nothing but a unique record. Okay, you can identify a records based on a key. If suppose you have given 1001, it will fetch that 1001 employee information. So this is a case ID. PYID is a case ID. Case ID is a key because case ID will always be unique in a table. Two cases will not have a same ID. So case ID is a key here. Now, if you want to fetch the data from this particular class, how you have to specify it? If you want to fetch the particular class, you will actually copy this class. Okay, give it in open class and property dot PYID. PYID is a key. You will always mention the PYID on the left side like this, and property value. This key will get dynamically updated, right? One time you may fetch an 1001 employee. One time you will fetch an something called 2002 employee. Whatever employee you are giving as an input to this one, you will fetch it, right? So we can actually hard code it like this 1001 like this. But this will not work in real-time applications, because the values you should not hard code, because every time the values may change, it will not be a single value. So mostly what people will do, people will use a parameter, param.id. They will give some param.id. Okay, This param.id they will mention in parameters tab. You have a parameters tab here. They will add a parameter here. They'll click on plus icon. ID is a parameter. ID is a parameter. Description also you can give this a description. Description also you can give the same. No worries. And this is you can mention as a string. If it is an integer, whatever the value you are passing, you can mention it like this. Generally, ID is a string value, so you can mention string value, and you can mention this is an input or output parameter. This is an input parameter. You are giving an as an input to this activity, so this is an input parameter. Okay. Now, what happens? You have mentioned this is an input parameter. Now, whenever you are invoking this activity, okay, whenever you are invoking this activity, it will expect this parameter. It will expect this parameter as an input parameter, but we haven't mentioned this and required or not. If it is a required, you have to definitely mention this value. You have to definitely pass that value, or else it will fail. Okay, if it is not a required, it will not mandatorily ask. Okay, it might fail, but it will not mandatorily ask. If it is a required value, it will not execute until unless that value is provided. Okay, this is a key. This is how we will specify the key, and this param value will get dynamically updated. Like if you want to fetch the employee called this one 3001, you will pass the ID as a 3001. It will open, and the opened record you have to store in somewhere, right? Here in obj browse, where you are storing the values, you are storing the values here on page name, right? Similarly, the value which you are the record which you are opening that you need to store on some page, right, in clipboard. That page you have to mention it on here, step page. You have one page here, step page. Step page is like on what action. See, method is like the action you are performing on a database or some on clipboard. Okay, step page is like on what page you need to perform the action. This is like what action you are performing. This step page is like on what page you have to specify some page to perform this action. So you will specify some page like a temp employee info something you will specify, and this page, this temp employee info must be specified in pages and classes. Whatever the pages you are using here in steps here, whatever the pages you are using, every page must be defined in pages and classes, and you have to map a class to it. And you have to map a class to it, then only this activity rule will get saved. Now if you saved also, it will throw an error. Any questions for obj open?
No, sir.
If you want me to repeat, I will repeat again.
No, it's fine.
It's fine, right?
Yes.
Now you have a lock here, right? Lock. What is a lock? If you selected this checkbox, what will happen? The lock. See, if you are updating this record, suppose this has an employee phone number also. Employee phone number. Okay. If you have an employee phone number column also, you have each and every employee's phone number on this column. Now for this last record for 3001 employee, you are updating the phone number. Suppose there is some other random phone number, you are updating this phone number to another phone number. Okay. Now what happens? First of all, how you will work on this record? You will open the record. Okay. You will get all these column, all these values on this particular page. On this page. Okay, you will get all these values on this particular page. Now you have to lock it. You have to check this one. Lock it. Okay, locking means no one can update this record until the lock is released. You are acquiring a lock on this record means no one can modify this record. Okay, you will lock this record, and after that you will manipulate the data on the next step. Like how you will manipulate the data? In how you will manipulate the data on data transform, you will use set method, right? Set method you use to set a value on clipboard, right? Similarly, in activities, you have a property set. Property set is a method which will actually property set. What property set will do? Property set will manipulated data on a clipboard. Now you have a data, this page is present on a clipboard because you have already opened the record. Now the data is present on this record. Now what you will do, you need to modify the data on this record, on this page, right? So you will give a step page as the same page. Step page is like on what page you are performing an action. You will give your phone number. What property you are updating? Employee phone number, right? You will give like this, employee phone number, and you will manipulate the data. What data you want, you will set the data. Okay, what data you are updating, you will set the data here like this, whatever the value you need. After setting a data, now what will happen? This data which we have set it will be present only on clipboard. We haven't saved this data into database, right? Still the data which we have manipulated is present only on clipboard. Here we are opening a record. Now the record data is present on this page. Now you are doing property set and you are updating a value on a clipboard. Yeah, property set, you have mentioned the step page as this page, right? So what will happen? It will come to this context.
Yes.
It will update all the if you keep dot, you will get the properties on that page. Okay. Dot phone number or some property will be there, right? Phone number, employee phone number, you will update to some other value. Whatever the value you need, you will update to some other value. After you are updating the value on a clipboard, you will do obj save. Obj save. Obj save. Let me expand the obj save here. You can see the parameters here. What parameters you have? These parameters you have, but it actually doesn't know what page to save, right? What page you have to save it, it doesn't know. So you will mention the same page here. Now this page has manipulated data in a clipboard. So it will save this page to a DB table. It will save this record, whatever the record you have on this page, it will save into the corresponding table. Yeah, if you want to modify employee salary, you can modify here itself. If you want to modify employee experience, some after 1 year experience has got increased, it has to be modified automatically. Here we are doing manually. This is not a good practice to update experience and all like this. But if you want to update it manually, you can write it down your own code here. Employee experience is equal to some dot employee experience plus 1. Plus 1 means it will do appending here like this.
Okay.
You are increasing 1 by employee experience. You are increasing it to, if you have 5 years, it will do for 5 plus 1, and it will store this value to here, to left side.
Yes.
And these changes will be done only on clipboard. Okay, until unless this step is executed, it will not get modified into a DB. Okay. Any questions till now? Because now we'll be discussing regarding obj save. Till now you have understood it, how we will modify a record in a database. You will open it. See, obj browse, you will not modify any records. Obj browse is used to just fetch and show the data. But obj open, you will open a record onto one particular page. You can modify a data on a particular page, and you can actually save the changes into the DB again. Now, what you are doing here, you are manipulating a data on a database. Like you are opening, you are first modifying on a clipboard, and then you are saving it back to the database. Now, what will happen? The database record will get modified here in a DB. Okay, this is how you will do data manipulation in activities, like data manipulation in DB for activities. If you want to do a data manipulation clipboard, what you will do, simply you will do property set. That's it. Property set or set. It will change the values in a clipboard, but it will not store into database. If you want to store into database, you need to open that record. You will modify the record and you will save back the record to DB. Some cases you will modify data on clipboard. Like not only modify, suppose, let me tell you what we are using in our application. Okay, our application which I'm working in a project is in some dispute application. You will get banking transactions. Okay, you will have transactions. Okay, if you have gone to any merchant or any shop and you have swiped your card, okay, what will happen? Your money will get deducted and you will get your transaction in your statement, bank statement, right? Now, if you want to really go through that all the things, you will get a transaction ID, right? One transaction ID will be present. That is a unique ID for each and every transaction you do, or whether it may be a debit transaction, whether it may be a credit transaction. Okay. Now, if you look into the transaction ID, based on a transaction ID, you can actually able to get so much data. But we generally don't know if the transaction ID is fourth digit is 2. Okay, fourth digit is 2, then it is a MasterCard transaction. If the fifth digit is 4, like that, there is some indications that is a Visa transaction. Okay. Now, how you will get to know the fourth digit? The fourth digit is 1, the fifth digit is 4. You have to take a substring of that transaction ID, right? How you will store that substring? You will store in a clipboard only. You will not store those substring values, those temporary information. You will not store in a database. You will store those type of values all in clipboard only. Based on that, you will identify whether the card which you have used is a MasterCard, Visa, or RuPay card. Whatever the card you are using, you can able to understand based on a transaction ID. You understand? It will be temporarily saved if you have logged off from the application.
Yes.
Or
That is what my actually doubt.
Yeah, if you have logged off from the application, the data will be closed. And if you have reopened the case, if you have some particular case, if you reopen the case, then again the data will actually come. Like from where it will come means it will store in a clipboard pages only. That the DB record will not get modified. Okay, until unless you have saved. Suppose you have a list of records. Okay, you need to sort the list of records. Sorting you will not directly do on a database and you will fetch the data. You'll actually fetch the data in clipboard, and in clipboard you will sort. You will not sort on database table itself. And sometimes you may need to connect with external applications. Like you need to connect. See, in our application we will connect. We have an integrations with MasterCard, Visa, and all. Okay, MasterCard will provide some data as a response. Visa might provide some data as a response. That response data, they may provide in a different manner. Like those are all legacy systems. Those are all old systems. They will provide a data to each and every vendor. So there will be so many vendors for them, right? MasterCard will be having so many vendors. Like SBI is a vendor, and the Union Bank is a vendor, and Bank of America is also a vendor for MasterCard. So they will not update their system for our application. Okay, we need to modify the data in our application. Whatever the data they are providing for us, we have to modify in our system. In our local data, we have to modify. So those type of data modifications or data manipulations we will do using data transforms. Like in a clipboard, you will not do in a database record because you're getting from external system, right? You cannot modify in their system. You'll modify in a clipboard. Yeah, we can modify the data to the page list, and again you can save back to the DB. To save back to the DB, you have to loop on this page list. Okay, there's a loop option here. You will loop on that current page list, like for each embedded page, and you will give your page list here on pages and classes. Then what it will do? It will save one by one record to a database.
Okay.
It will save
so
one.
We have to use the same approach, like
Same
property
method,
set to set the value and then obj
Correct.
save. Okay.
Correct. And property set means you cannot set like each and every value. Again, you need to loop here. See, whenever a page list or list of records have involved, you need to loop on that and you need to modify that.
Right. Okay. Understood.
Understood, right?
Yeah.
You have to loop them. And we need to discuss regarding OBJ. Any questions? No, right?
No.
Okay. No. Then we'll discuss regarding OBJ save. We have 3 options here right now, right, with errors only new, if new. These 2 you will not discuss right now. Let's discuss regarding right now. These 2 right now we'll discuss now. Okay. Now, if you see, when you do OBJ save, what will happen? The data which you are saving will be stored into a deferred memory. Okay. you will be having two types of memory in a database. One is a deferred memory, one is an permanent storage. Like you'll store the data into permanent table. So whenever you use obj save, those saved values will be only stored in a deferred memory. You have a deferred memory concept in database, that there only it will store the data. If you want to really persist the data, if you want to commit the data, then you have to check this right now. You have to check this right now. Right now is like committing a data to a database. If you haven't checked that right now, what will happen? It will store into a deferred memory. Okay, you can open this one here, help here. You can see how actually right now will work. Obj save method, use this method to see, to request that system save a clipboard page. Whatever the page you are mentioning on a step page, this page, that will get saved into database. Okay, if you come down right now, see, select the right now parameter to force the page to be written into a database as part of, unlike the commit method. See, you have a commit method also. Okay, you have a commit method also. You have obj save, and you have one more method called commit. Mostly how people will use is like, they will not check this one. This right now and commit are same. These two methods will do the same thing. If you have checked this one, it will actually commit. If you have unchecked and if you have used a commit method, it will also perform the same action. But what is the difference is like, if you do right now here, it will only commit this particular thing into a database. If you, or else if you have used the commit step here explicitly, then what it will do, it will commit entire deferred memory of a particular table into that table. It will commit everything. Okay, so people generally use this commit. Okay, this commit, and you have locked here, right? You have locked here. When should you release the lock? You will release the lock on commit. You have to check this one also. Release on commit is like whenever you have committed the data into database, like whenever you have permanently saved, not after obj save. Okay, whenever you do committed, like if you didn't use commit and if you have used this right now also, it will actually release the lock, because right now is also a form of committing. So it will release the lock, but people generally, the best practice is used to use this one, commit method. You can see here, that's what he will say here. Unlike commit method, obj save does not operate on previously marked committed objects. Current page, they will tell you how actually these parameters will work. Okay, right now. Okay, if you have, they will check this with errors. If there are any validation errors on a page, okay, or if there are any messages on a page, okay. See, I'm telling you, if there are any messages on a page, okay, that page will not get saved into database. Message is nothing but a warning. Okay, if there are any warnings or any error messages on a page, that page will not get saved into database generally. Then what you will do, you will check this one with errors. This is also not a best practice. People will ask you why you are using with errors. You should not save wrong information to database. If suppose there is any wrong information, suppose the phone number is there is some validation on phone number, but by mistake you have entered an alphabet. So whenever you're saying saving, that will throw an error, because the validation has actually broken here. It will throw an error. But if you used with errors, then this wrong data also will get stored into database. So that is not a best practice, right? To store incorrect data into a database. So generally people will not check this one. People also will not check this right now. Instead of this, they will use obj save and they will use commit method explicitly.
You want to say everything will be saved, whatever you are writing.
Yeah, whatever we are writing, all the data will get saved. Let me show you if there is any commit method obj save they are using in the application. Let me see the references. It will take time because there will be so many obj browse, so many places they will use obj save. Okay, you understand the basic idea, right? How actually obj save will work.
Yes, Suman.
Yeah. And let's go to the next one. Obj browse, obj save, and we have obj delete. Okay. If you want to delete any particular record in a database, okay, then also first you have to open it. Okay. Whatever the modification you are doing, you have to open it. Okay. After opening only, you have to do the modifications. Let me open any activity here. Why this? You will get a pencil icon here. It is not getting. Let me search it here. Attach action, attach note, action, attach note. You'll see here how they have used object browse. I think they have checked the right. They haven't checked it right now. Okay, people, what they will do obj saves like this. Okay, suppose they are calling two activities. Suppose there is a parent activity for this one. Okay, there is a parent activity for this one. They will do obj saves here, and the parent activity they will do commit at a time. They will do parent activity. They will commit at a time. Here they are not committing and they are not doing right now also, right? Here they are not doing anything. So what they will do, they will commit it in a parent activity. In a previous activity, what they are using. See here, this parent activity. See, they are calling this add assign. You see the add assign where they are calling the add assign. They will use call method to call an activity from one activity from another activity. If you see, they will be calling here. They are calling add assign here. Add assign. They are doing obj save inside it, but they are not committing or right now. They haven't checked anything here. What they are doing committing at a time. Whatever the modification they have done in this activity, all those things will be committed at a time. Okay, they are committing this page. You see, they have given a step page here. They are committing the page. You understand it? How they will use a commit method.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Now let's go to obj delete. Okay. We'll not. Let's complete obj delete today. Obj delete. Let me expand. You will not have any parameters, only one parameter. Remove. Okay, remove. Obj delete. What obj delete will do? You have to mention a step page here. Step page will be having single record, right? This record will get deleted. Okay, this record will get deleted from a database table. After deleting also, you have to save and commit, or else it will not actually commit the data. Whenever you are using obj delete, how you have to do is like, you will use obj delete here on the top. After using obj delete, you will not manipulate the data, because for deleting again you will not manipulate and delete it. You will simply delete. So you will comment out this step. Comment out means you have to give 2 slashes here, similar to Java only. You will give 2 slashes here. This step will get committed. This step will not get executed. Now how it will work? You are opening the record. You are opening one particular record. Suppose employee leaves an organization. Okay, whenever employee leaves an organization, what you will do, you have to remove the data. You have to remove the record, this record. Suppose Akansha has left the organization. Now you have to remove this record from a table. Now what you will do, you will open this record using the employee ID. You need not modify any data. You will, I have committed it. You will delete the record, obj delete. You will delete the same record, and you will save this table. You will save this particular table. Save and commit it. You need not give a step page also, because you have already deleted it. If you haven't given step page also, it will take the primary page as a step page. Primary page means the stop page, or this particular page, this class page, and it will save and it will commit. Okay. the basic idea of a delete is like to delete a data from a database, to delete a record from a database table. Okay. Generally, most of the times, if you are in an application where it's a huge application and good architects and good people are involved, people will not suggest you to delete any record. Okay, simply they will use one flag in every table, like is deleted or some flag they will use. They will set this flag to true. True means this record is considered as deleted record. Like this record is not a required record. Okay, they will generally use this practice, and whenever they are using any filtering conditions, they will filter it out. Like is deleted must be null or false. Those records only they need. Means they will not remove any data from a database record. They will use a flag and they will separate it. Like separate means whether that is a required record or not. Suppose if you are leaving an organization and you are actually again rejoining the organization, same organization. Okay, then people will generally ask that, have you worked in this organization previously? If you say yes, then what they will do, they will mark, while actually they are fetching a data, they will mark this is deleted flag equal to true, and they will fetch your record, whether you are a previous employee or not. You understand what I'm trying to say? Yeah, generally the best practice is not to delete any data from a database. Okay, you should not delete, because those are all banking applications and all. You can segregate the data based on a flag, like you mark it as a deleted in a database, and you will not fetch that items. Like whenever you are doing obj browser, they will use this flag also. They will use one more filter, like they will use C here. They will add one more filter, D, and what they will do, dot is deleted flag is not equal to true. They will write like this. So they will not get the deleted records. They will not get the deleted records, and they will write the conditioning here. What is the condition they require? Employees greater than 5 years and is deleted is not equal to true. Means whoever has left the organization, we actually not require the data. So they will write C and D like this. C and D. The labels are C, D, right? There will be C and D. So you will get only the records which were not deleted in a database. This is general practice people will follow. But again, these are all dependent on your application, your architects, how actually they're designing the application. They will do like this. Okay. See, these things client doesn't know. Okay. Client doesn't know whether client will simply say, I don't want those records, those employees who left the organization. But it is all designing way. Okay. How you are designing an application. Suppose you have actually, without this approach, you are actually deleting it. Then again, the client came back and I need those deleted employees, like the employees who left the organization, I need a records. In that manner, if suppose he is asking, in such case, you will not get the data. You will not find the data in a database. Okay. So generally, people will not take that risk. All organizations will actually mostly prefer to use a flag in a table, and they will filter it out based on the flag value. Okay. Any questions? Okay. Shall I tell you one real-time example where you will use a flag? You will have an attachments here. Whenever you are adding an attachment here, whenever you are adding an attachment to your case, okay, what will happen? PEGA will store that attachment to your database, right? So whenever you're deleting an attachment, okay, whenever you're deleting an attachment and click off the delete icon, people will generally generally delete the attachment. Okay, they will store the attachment in a different manner. See, you have an attachments here, your documents and files, you have an attachments here. This is a different UI. I'm not sure whether you're able to attach here or not, but if you have attached any attachment and you have clicked on delete icon, okay, you have clicked on delete icon, then what will happen? You will not delete the attachment really. They will hide the attachment. That's it. They will hide the attachment based on the flag. They will not display the attachment there. But in the backend, you will be having the attachment. Okay, you understand, right? How they will delete it. Delete means they will not really delete, they will hide. But you have a flexibility to delete also using obj delete method. Any questions? Delete. This is fine, right? We'll end up here. 4 methods, these 4. Tomorrow we'll discuss regarding these commit also we have discussed, right? Tomorrow we'll discuss the remaining 2 methods and we'll discuss regarding report definitions. Report definitions. Why we need report definitions?